any information I got to that regard to the committee. Yes.
And you're absolutely right, because it wasn't your decision to mainstream him or partially mainstream. It was the committee's decision, correct?
Correct.
So let me be more precise in my question, and that is the committee had an obligation to partially mainstream him if he met the standards, these objective standards and goals. Am I correct then?
Yes.
Okay. Equally, was he partially mainstreamed and then fully mainstreamed?
I don't recall if he was fully mainstreamed.
Oh, you're not aware if he actually was fully mainstreamed?
I'm not aware of the hours, the hours that he spent, whether it was a full day, 3/4 day, half day.
Okay.
I'm not clear on that.
Okay. Aside from the individual education plans that were put together, you don't have your individual notes, and I'm not faulting you because this was many years ago. You don't have, to refresh your memory, the individual notes that you would have generated from back then on Nikolas Cruz, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay, so you're doing the best you can with your memory, for the most part, correct?
I hope so, yes.
Okay. So when the defendant, you know that he was partially mainstreamed at least, it's possible he was fully mainstreamed, you're not sure, but you do know that he was back full-time into the cluster, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so again, the committee would have to meet, correct?
Correct.
They would have to evaluate his performance, correct?
Yes.
And do what's in his best interest, and keep in mind that it should be in the least restrictive environment, correct?
Yes.
And they made the decision that he needed to go back into the cluster, correct?
Yes.
Now, you had indicated that, and I wasn't sure if you were criticizing Linda Cruz or just making observations about her follow-up or her performance in her position as the mother of an ESE student. Were you being critical of her or no?
I was providing my observations.
And was your observations critical of her? I couldn't figure it out. Was it critical or not?
There was no evaluation in my answer. It was merely my observations of what occurred.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a little bit. You mentioned that he had to wear a harness on the bus, correct?
Correct.
Why did he have to wear a harness?
It was, generally speaking, it's for the safety of the student. In his specific case, I can't answer. I don't recall.
Well, a harness is used to control the student, wouldn't it?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. The witness just said he didn't know why Mr. Cruz had a harness.
Well, I think I can explore that.
You said he didn't know?
Okay, if he knows the reason for a harness, you can ask him.
Would a harness control the movements of a student in a bus?
Generally speaking, yes.
Not every student is required to wear a harness in a bus, are they?
No.
Were you aware of his misbehavior on the bus by Mr. Nikolas Cruz as a child, or do you recall that?
I recall some difficulties on the bus, yes.
Now, you had made a comment about inconsistent progress, or progress inconsistent, correct? And is how you would characterize the defendant's performance throughout his time at your school?
Correct.
Still with us, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani and criminal defense attorney law professor Molly Parmer. Nima, tell us as we're wrapping up, what are you looking for from the defense and the state as this penalty phase continues? And I think we may be having some technical difficulties. Yep, let's see if we're able to get him back. Nima, are we able to get Nima back? Okay, yes, try again. Start at the beginning. Go ahead.
What we're looking for, Ashley, is the defense theory that Nikolas Cruz was a special needs child in a special needs class. That's something that the jury may empathize with. Where the state, on the other hand, is describing Nikolas Cruz being mainstream in a general education class. And they're arguing that the committee deemed his behavior, his progress sufficient to put him with typical kids. So the jury shouldn't empathize with him and connect with him as a special needs child. So two very distinct theories of the case for the defense and the state here.
And Molly, which one do you think is ahead at this moment, this point in time, the state or the defense?
I mean, the facts here are so heinous. However, I really do believe that Nikolas Cruz is going to be spared the death penalty because, as we've talked about, it just takes one juror to say that they want him spared to end up with that result. And I think in this case, when you have somebody so young, not just a special education student, somebody who has suffered through a horrible, even when he was in utero, let alone when he was a small infant, then when he was a very young kid, all of that has severe developmental consequences, and the defense is laying that out. So.
And Nima, what's your opinion? What do you think this jury might do at the conclusion of this penalty phase?
Ashley, I agree with Molly. I thought the state was way ahead before yesterday and today, but now I think it's a toss-up. I think the defense has done a very good job. Again, it'll never be 12-0 or anything close to it, but maybe the defense will get 1, 2, no more than 3 jurors that will spare Nikolas Cruz's life. We'll see.
That's right, and only one is needed. It has to be unanimous for the death penalty. Of course, I want to thank Nima Rahmani and Molly Parmer for joining us today. Michael Ayala here on set. Great to see you. What do we expect on your show?
I'll tell you what, you can't look at those pictures of little Nikolas Cruz and not feel something. We're going to continue with coverage of that Parkland shooter case. And then at 6 o'clock, we're going to shift to Ohio v. Moore, the staged suicide murder trial, and bring you all the important testimony from today. So keep it right here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Call now.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. We are tracking 2 live trials here on Court TV Live. Another day of important testimony in the penalty phase of the Parkland School shooting trial. The focus of the defense today has been Nikolas Cruz's childhood and developmental issues.
Did you ever see him happy?
I see him happy sometimes.
Okay.
And then a lot of times I saw him, most time, as I remember him, there was no real expression of emotion.
Did he hit other children?
Yes.
Okay. Was he responsive when you spoke to him?
Hardly ever. If he looked at you, many times he didn't look at you. If he looked at you, it was just a blank look. Sometimes he just smiled, like he was just confused.
Plus, we are also bringing you a special hour focusing on the best and most important testimony today in the staged suicide murder trial. Now, today, we learned about what happened once the victim's body was discovered hanging in the woods.
You indicated that you assisted with cutting the cord that was around the bottom of her chin and then kind of up like this. Do you remember seeing that visual?
Yes.
How did you assist? Did you hold on to her when he cut the cord? Tell the jurors how you assisted.
So I held her by the shoulder blades to make sure that when the cord was cut, that she would not fall forward or backwards, to have her remain in that position so I could slowly bring her down into the cadaver body bag.
We're going to start this hour in Florida. It is, of course, day 2 of the defense presenting its part of Nikolas Cruz's penalty phase. On the stand today, witnesses who knew Cruz as a child, from a former teacher to a neighbor who interacted with Cruz and his adopted family. Well, court is still in session at this hour. I want to take you back into the courtroom for live testimony. On the stand right now is John Michael Newhan. Now, he is on cross-examination. He is a therapist who dealt with the young Nikolas Cruz. So let's get back to it.
You had the opportunity to be with them as their family counselor for many years, I guess 6 years. Excuse me, not them, but Nikolas Cruz, correct?
Yes.
And yet, the progress was inconsistent at best, correct?
Correct.
So she faced, just like you did, very challenging children that both of you had mixed results at best, correct?
Yes.
Now, do you know who Dr. Kravitz is, Frederick Kravitz?
I do not recall.
Were you aware, and this is during the time period that you were family or the counselor, that Linda Cruz took the defendant to see a psychologist, Dr. Kravitz, from April 07 to May 21st of 2008. And I just want to, so April 07 to May 08. And just to refresh everyone's recollection, you were with him from 05 to 11, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So would you agree that her taking Nikolas Cruz to a psychologist from April 26, 07 to May 21st, 08 would be in line with your recommendation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know who Dr. Lori Karpf is? A medical doctor, psychiatrist.
I don't recall that name, no.
Are you aware that during the time from June 25th, 08 through December 18th, 2011, so those would, I believe, within your years of service of Nikolas Cruz, that the defendant was seeing a psychiatrist? Are you aware of that?
No, I was not.
Okay. Would that be consistent with the advice that you had given to Mrs. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware that in October of 08, the defendant and his brother were taken to, or were part of Tomorrow's Rainbow? Are you familiar with Tomorrow's Rainbow?
Yes.
And that's grief counseling, correct?
Correct.
And that would be consistent with your recommendations to Mrs. Cruz, correct?
Yes.
Were you aware that from October 09 to December 09, Mrs. Cruz arranged for Henderson Behavioral Clinic to see the defendant at home for in-home therapy? Were you aware of that?
I was aware of the, that they provided in-home counseling, yes.
Okay. And those services I just told you about, those were all in his elementary years, correct?
Correct.
And those various services, all those services would be very much in line with the recommendations that you were making. Correct?
Correct, yes.
The defendant enjoyed counseling with you, didn't he?
I believe so.
He enjoyed the attention it gives him, correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that his mother was very protective of him?
Yes.
You never detected any substance like alcohol or anything like that with Linda Cruz, did you?
Not in my interactions with her, no.
Okay. You would consult with the ESE teachers and the speech pathologist, correct?
Correct.
And the purpose of that was what?
To gather information outside of my direct interactions with the student.
And this led you to believe that the defendant was receiving the best services available to him at that school?
Yes.
And of course, we know how the story ended on February 14th, 2018, correct?
Yes.
Was there anything in your work with the defendant that gave you any indication that something like this could ever happen?
No.
You were asked about the birth mother by Miss McNeil, and I think it was your testimony that she was an addict when she was born, or when he was born. That the mother was addicted to several substances at the time that Nikolas was born. Is that what you believed you were told?
Correct, yes.
Were you ever made aware that, do you know what a meconium drug screen is at birth?
I've heard of it. I don't know specifics.
Do you know that it tests to see if the baby has any drugs in his system?
Yes.
And are you aware that since it's the meconium that they're testing, it goes back, I won't say exactly how long, but it goes back a certain time in the past that it measures to see if there was drugs in the baby's system?
Again, I don't know specifics.
Would it have assisted your evaluation if you had learned that the drug screen was negative, that there was no drugs found in Nikolas Cruz's system when he was born?
I can't answer that based on my memory.
Well, you said it would be important to know if the mother was an addict using drugs at the time of at or around the time the baby was born. Would it, the opposite, also be of value to you that she wasn't using drugs during the time of the birth or near the time of the birth, going back a time? Would that have assisted you?
It may have.
Okay. Would it have assisted you to know that there was no observable, excuse me, let me start over. Did you ever look at the birth records?
Those were not ever provided to me, no.
Would it have assisted you in your therapy if you had found out that there was no observed abnormalities in Nikolas Cruz when he was born?
It may have assisted my recommendations.
Would it have assisted your recommendations if you'd known that his APGAR scores were normal? Do you know what APGAR scores are?
I know the acronym. I can't tell you what it is, though.
Okay. When they rate a baby at the time of his birth, his heart rate being normal, his respiratory effort, muscle tone, reflex irritability, color, but overall his scores were 8 and 9, 8 at 1 minute, 9 at 5 minutes out of 10, where 7, 8, or 9 are normal. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Okay. Did you know that his only resuscitation was being suctioned by a bulb and having oxygen mask placed on his face? Did you know that? Was that told to you? And would that be important in your evaluation?
No, that was not told to me.
Okay. Were you ever told that he had to be brought back to life at birth? Did anyone ever tell you that?
No.
No. Okay.
All right, we're going to take a short break right now. An interesting cross-examination there again. The focus of the defense has been all these people around him, including his mother, in utero, failed this young man. But what he's bringing up now is that maybe, perhaps, it wasn't as bad as the defense and others have said. All right, when we get back, we're going to take you right back in the courtroom for more live testimony and a quick programming note for you guys. We also have a special hour ahead. Beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to bring you the best of today's testimony in the staged suicide murder trial. We'll get you caught up in Ohio versus Moore from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern right here on Court TV Live.
Zebra.com now.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. Now, you are watching continuing testimony in the penalty phase of convicted Parkland shooter Nikolas Cruz. The defense is presenting its case, trying to convince jurors to spare Cruz's life and vote for life in prison rather than death. Cruz, of course, pled guilty to 17 counts of first-degree murder in October of last year. And as we come toward the end of day 2 of the defense's case, they continue to present witnesses who are testifying about the problems and pathologies that Cruz presented as far back as the 4th grade. What's clear is that the defense is trying to give this jury a clear picture of Cruz's life and struggles as a way of explaining and not excusing his actions in hopes that they will find that his life is worth sparing. I want to take you back into the courtroom now. Just wrapping up was the cross-examination of the defense witness. And essentially, they brought out some interesting things. The Assistant State Attorney Jeff Marcus was able to bring out, most importantly, that when Cruz was born, there weren't any drugs found in his system. He was not addicted to drugs. Again, this might fly in the face of a claim by the defense that he suffered from fetal alcohol syndrome. Again, something for the jury to consider. Now we're going to take you back in. Melissa McNeil for the defense is going to do redirect of that witness. So let's go back in.
Sir, I just want to follow up on a couple things that Mr. Marcus asked you. He advised you that Nikolas was seeing a clinical psychologist by the name of Dr. Kravitz, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that Dr. Kravitz, he saw him about 13 months.
Yes.
Okay. And did you know that Dr. Kravitz had actually recommended that Nikolas see him every single week during that period of 13 months?
No.
So that would be over 52 sessions with Dr. Kravitz. Would you agree with that?
Would I agree with what?
That if Nikolas saw Dr. Kravitz for over 12 months, almost 13 months, that at a minimum that would be 52 sessions with Dr. Kravitz, if Dr. Kravitz was saying you need to come once a week.
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware that Linda only took Nikolas to see that clinical psychologist 15 times?
No.
Okay. So that would be kind of the inconsistency that you were talking about, is that right?
Partially, yes.
Okay. And the Tomorrow's Rainbow that you're aware of, the grief counseling?
Yes.
Were you aware that she didn't take them to grief counseling until 4 years after Roger's death?
I was not aware of the timeline.
Okay. And Mr. Marcus told you about Henderson coming in and doing some case management and providing some therapeutic services. You said you were aware of that, though, correct?
Yes.
Were you aware that Linda discontinued those services after 7 sessions?
I was aware that the services were short-lived.
Is that kind of like the inconsistency that you were referring to before, sir?
Yes.
And would you agree that by definition, emotionally, behaviorally handicapped child, that means that the aggressive behavior that they exhibit is actually a manifestation of internal factors, as defined by the ESC policies for Broward County?
I believe so, yes.
I have no further questions, sir. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're excused.